just everything's gone wrong.
Oh no. What's up?
I think I've unwronged it. I only just started hearing you. My audio quality has gone down, I think. I can't really tell.
Yeah, it has gone down considerably, that's true.
Despite me using the same device.
Yeah, that's...
Plugged into the same slot.
That's odd.
I stopped. I thought, maybe the pop card is making me sound like I have a sock in my mouth. I don't want to believe that's just how I sound, so I think that is actually how it is. So I was experimenting with positioning and stuff. But no, we're at phone quality. That's what the recording's going to be. Maybe my microphone's packing it in. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this is definitely a video game podcast, and we didn't discuss what our subject was going to be before starting this call.
Yeah, we did not.
Well, I've been playing The Witcher 3.
Oh, I have not played that, unfortunately.
You haven't really used VR either. That didn't stop us making that pilot.
I did use VR, actually. Not regularly, but I have used it a few times in my life. Yeah, I have.
You've also seen Geralt in the bathtub, so...
I have. I suppose that is the essential Witcher 3 experience, then.
Yeah.
And also knowing
So
that The Witcher 3 is decidedly against polyamorous relationships.
Is it? Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, like, you know how there's these, like, two main romantic interests in The Witcher 3?
Yeah, I know, I've gotten to the point where, like, I know there's two women that Geralt likes.
Yeah.
Gerald, as he's called in the industry, and in English, because Geralt is just Gerald. So Gerald lost his memory in, I guess, The Witcher 1, or some time before the start of The Witcher 2. And he fell in love with someone, a woman with red hair, I think. And that was fine. And then he got his memory back and remembered that he liked this woman with black hair. And neither of them are, like, super happy about it, I guess. I guess they're both monogamous. I don't know.
Yeah, and like in The Witcher 3, you have to choose between the woman.
Oh, that's...
And if you don't choose between the woman and try to be with both of them, they find out about it, and they, I think they, like, pull a scheme on Geralt
on Gerald.
On Gerald, and make him regret it, much like Richard Nixon did his wet and slippery water heist.
Well, here's the thing. I'm all for polyamory, and one of the few good things about Fallout 4 is that you can have as many romantic partners as you want, and I guess they just forgot to program in or write any repercussions for that, because they're certainly not. I'm hesitant to attribute a good feature of a Bethesda game to intentionality.
Yeah.
But when both of them are, like, monogamous, then, you know, that's cheating. Cheating still exists.
It absolutely
It's still
does.
A breach of trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a shame it's not a choice, but I'm not that bothered about it. Unless there's, like, a quest where you meet someone who is polyamorous and it's like, oh, you're worse than the monsters. Because that would be incredibly stupid.
No, I don't know any of any such quest.
Yeah, I got an old woman a teapot pack. Not teapot, a frying pan. Because someone borrowed it and then he was murdered. So I went in his house. And he'd scraped all the soot off the pan to make ink. So the pan was clean and she got it back. So she gave me some baked apples.
Aww. It's very good. It's a babushka simulator.
Yeah, well, it'd be more of a Nan simulator because she had a very, as with everyone, very regional English accent.
Ah, I see.
And there's a lot of vodka, which makes, it's the sort of thing. The area you start in is a swamp, and it's full of creatures that eat corpses and jump out of the swamp and try and make you into a corpse and eat you.
Mm.
So vodka is a very sensible piece of world building.
Yeah.
Also, there'd be no clean water to drink.
Yeah, indeed.
And literally everything would immediately get horribly infected.
Yeah.
So the fact there are people there means they probably invented vodka.
Yeah, I get that.
Also, the books it's based on were written in Poland.
Yeah, I know. There was something I wanted to say, but I don't remember what it was regarding The Witcher 3. Oh yes, do you know the YouTube channel Classics of Game?
I've heard of it.
The biggest condemnation of any video game is if it is janky or bad enough to be part of Classics of Game.
Yeah.
And The Witcher 1 is in Classics of Game.
Yeah, I tried to play The Witcher 1 a little bit. Graphically, it's like in this weird place between console generations. Yeah, as a lot of PC games were.
Yeah.
It's very, like, poly count wise, it's high end PS2. And then, like, polish wise, it's low end PS2. But there's a lot of, like, programmable shader usage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But overall, it's very ugly and confusing.
The Lords are coming. Shut up. Who's above the Lords? What is this crap?
I think that's why the author of The Witcher didn't think the games were going to do very well. And he sold the license really cheap and didn't ask for any royalties, and he regretted that, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did.
As with anyone, because you just don't do that. You say, yeah, I'll have. You can if you don't have faith, you say give me 1%, and if you have faith, say give me 10%. You don't do 0%. You just don't.
No, yeah, you absolutely don't. I suppose it was a different time when people had no faith in video games whatsoever.
I mean, not really. They were already quite big, and like this game was being made by basically a company which, like, CD Projekt Red got their name because they were a games importer. They, like, I believe it was illegitimate at first, and then they started actually getting licenses to basically make flea market versions of games that were way cheaper to distribute because they were just the game in a sleeve. Ah,
yeah, I see.
So, like, the games were available and people could buy them. They were cheap to transport. They were, like, a 50th of the size of a regular case. And obviously, like, very little plastic was involved. There was no real printing required or anything. And then, obviously, they made enough money on that to start developing stuff. And, like, obviously they're not EA. But as Polish, like, local companies go, they've got the biggest thing going around. And they come up and they're like, oh, we want to make a game of your thing, which is also, like, in terms of Polish literature, extremely big.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, it's like if... It's like fucking, I don't know, Codemasters going to J.K. Rowling and going, oh yeah, we want to adapt your game, and J.K.'s like, yeah, well, okay.
Except that happened. That happened a lot, in fact. Although most of those game adaptations are actually adaptations of the movie, now that I think about it, not of the book.
Well, yeah, but those were all, like, done properly. I'm saying it'd be like if J.K. said, yeah, you can have the license for £100 and whatever,
Kai, I don't think you would say that they were done properly in quotation marks.
No, I mean from the business side.
You had seen the PlayStation 1 game, Harry Potter.
No, I played it, but okay. I mean J.K. Rowling was fucking... she got her money.
And I think that's all she really cares about in the end. She is a Tory, after all. Yeah. A particularly vocal one, which is my least favourite type. Yeah. You know, I used to really love...
just reminding you she exists, and I really could do without that in my life.
You know, I really used to love Kate Bush, but then she reminded everyone that she's a Tory, and that Tory ideology is a quote-unquote good thing, and now I just sigh whenever I think of Kate Bush these days. You know, it's the woman that ran up a hill and made a deal with God.
Vaguely.
Talking about The Witcher 3, though, mostly just really makes me want to play more D&D very soon.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I appreciate the scale and everything about it, except for the fact I have to play as a white dude. And that's, like, the reason I kept putting off playing it. Yeah, it's good video game. But I'd like choice. I'd like more choice than I am given.
It's funny that you say that, because, like, games like The Witcher 3 and such are... Oh boy, a phone call interrupting this here podcast. Hoorah, hooroo. I'll be right back.
Yeah, there we go. It's fine, it's cool. To address something that Ariadne was talking about in a previous episode, I'm not a robot. Things are still relatively unclear, but if anything, I'm a form of Fae, but one that's relatively rare on this plane. Just thought I'd put that controversy to bed. I've been looking into ways to, like, do drawing and stuff in VR. It's kind of surprising how limited the toolset is for that sort of thing at the moment. Hopefully it'll improve in the future, because sculpting's fine, but I do want to use my headset for drawing as well. Just because it's so much more responsive than using a graphics tablet. I am looking forward to Cyberpunk a little bit, because it does have a character creator, and I think for now I trust CD Projekt enough not to make it terrible in the ways that their publicity team might make you feel it is. I can hear this entire phone conversation, but it's fine because I can't speak German or understand it, so I have no clue what she's talking about. I've been sick for a few days at this point. Fortunately, I'm getting over it. But my voice is still quite hoarse and deep, and I'm not super fond of it. you know, you gotta keep going. It's weird carrying a podcast all by yourself. I'm not used to it, I'm not good at it. That's why I stopped Let's Playing. This phone conversation feels way longer than it probably is, just because I have to kind of fill a gap. And it's kind of weird, it's kind of awkward. I heard the word donut. Also, yesterday actually, I built a Gundam kit. I got a MSN001A1 Delta Plus, which is a transforming kit. Based on the mobile suit piloted by Reddy Marcinas in Gundam Unicorn. The trouble with it is it's really it's a transforming mobile suit, so it's really complicated. And it's not like the simple transformations you get in like Transformers toys. It's actually it's really complicated and kind of makes me anxious. There's like a lot of small plastic parts kind of creaking, and I could really do without that. I've just posed it in mobile suit form, and I'm leaving it that way because it's very solid in mobile suit form. I'd say overall it's a good kit. I just, you know, they make sacrifices when they add these cool features to stuff, and I'd rather just, I don't know, it feels more solid as it is, so that's where I'm leaving it. It's gone kind of quiet. Maybe soon I won't have to carry the podcast anymore. But who knows in this economy? Oh no, it's gone quiet because she's muted it because she forgot. I wonder how much of this I'm going to have to cut out. Probably a lot. I'm just going to play Smash Bros. I've got him.
Hi, hello. I'm sorry,
Hi.
that took absolute ages.
Let me just finish fighting King K. Rool.
Will do, will do.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh, you have fought the guy.
Yeah.
Uh, hmm. I have a headache now, actually.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I think we should try and prepare these things a bit better beforehand. I remember last time I had my phone muted for one, so I should do that when we try this again.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, maybe, you know when I went away the first time,
Yeah?
and then you said the secret thing while I was gone? Well,
Uh,
I got to say a secret thing,
yeah?
and I got to say a secret thing.
Oh, you got to say a secret thing. Nice.
Yeah. So, I'm fine.
Okay, then shall we keep this going, this little train?
Yeah, my wishes have been granted.
We're on. What were we even talking about, though? I don't remember a thing. My dearest mama has the tendency to completely wipe my mind clear, as though she was Fear, the mind killer.
Mm, um,
You are right to react this way to that.
no, I was just trying to remember. I don't remember.
That's okay.
Well, one thing is, there is a good bit at the beginning of The Witcher 3 where some people are being awful, and Geralt and his dad kill them. And, it's like, I guess Geralt forgets that most people aren't that okay with decapitation. And, like, the people deserve to die, but also most people also don't deserve to watch people die.
Ah, I see what you mean.
And it happens inside, in a tavern with witnesses. And, you know, Gerald's done them a solid, but they're still, like, freaked out. And horrified.
That makes sense, definitely.
Yeah. And Gerald's like, oh, whoops. Most people aren't, like, 150 years old and completely hardened against tragedy, like I am.
I see.
Yeah. So it's also, there's like, you know how a lot of games or like genre fiction in general will have you playing as someone who's like an outcast but not really, where they'll take elements of real life oppression and apply it to someone who can like kick cars in half and jump 3 stories and shoot lasers out of their eyes. The Witcher has a bit of that, where witches are like very strong and frequently use potions which would just kill a human being, and use a fighting style which is like weird and circuitous and not remotely practical for a person, and can just heal from injuries by going to sleep, and have dark vision and all this shit, and and it's like, oh, it's so horrible that people are like, oh, you're a freak.
I think what they're trying to go for with this kind of thing in like any fiction that does this is like, oh, they're jealous of their super great abilities, that's why they shun them. But I think in reality most people would just be like, fuck, that's so cool. I want
Yeah,
to be able to do that.
yeah. Most people covet advantages.
Yeah, like I remember back in the day when fucking Deus Ex Human Revolution came out,
Oh yeah,
and like extra credits did like this really cool episode about how like with augmentations like the gap between the poor and the rich gets broader, and like privilege gets enhanced due to like the fact that like just for instance, nobody who is not augmented in some way has the same like people who are augmented have improved cognitive and physical abilities in that universe, and as such, for instance, like fully human, like non-augmented sports people and non-augmented like scientists and stuff can simply have disadvantages as opposed to them.
yeah,
And then fucking Eidos Montreal kept going with that shit and pulled
yeah.
it
They
in the
like tripled down.
in the exact opposite direction,
Yeah,
which
they
is a
like
terrible direction.
they quadrupled down on it. So editor's note. There was a bit where we were just kind of super wrong about stuff for like a bunch of minutes. And we really could have just Googled it or something. It's mainly my fault, but we said a bunch of stuff based on a half-remembered thing from it like a few years ago, and it was all super wrong and wouldn't have been cool to keep in the podcast, which is why I removed it. So that's why there's a weird edit here. I'm not going to cut out the Smash Brothers part though, because I don't want to, and unlike this doesn't, the Smash Brothers part doesn't hurt anyone, so it stays. Anyway, there's a quest where, well, the first one you do in The Witcher 3 is like there's a griffin who's making troubles, and you gotta kill it. And when you're investigating why the griffin's upset, it turns out that like basically a bunch of soldiers got drunk and killed its girlfriend and babies. And Geralt's like, this isn't how you do pest control. This is how you make enemies. So I did appreciate that. It was like, there's a reason witches exist, and if you're going to do this stuff, you have to do it properly, which is why these people are monks who go to a monster killing training monastery and undergo special mutations, and they learn all this stuff about all the different like herbs and stuff to make potions and affect stuff in different ways, and you really can't rock up to a magical creature's nest and swing a sword around and expect it to fix your problem. That was a cool bit of writing.
Yeah, sounds good.
Kind of killed the mood, really, didn't I?
That's okay. That's okay. I am not really sure how much in the mood I am for podcast time right now anyway, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean,
because there is a thing that I haven't told you yet, I think. I am injured right now.
Oh, you did mention it, and then I did ask you, and I guess you were like doing something else. and I was streaming. And then
I remember.
you went offline.
Yeah, a lot of like, I got injured like in the evening of my birthday party.
Ah, that doesn't help. Doesn't help.
Yeah, like, namely, like, because I am a fat girl, I broke through. The like the bed frame of the bed I was guest sleeping on.
Yeah, I don't really think that's your fault. Beds should be able to hold at least 2 humans.
That's true, I suppose, but either way, I like pulled like a ligament or like a muscle or something up in my neck, and now many movements, a lot of them implicit movements that I don't even notice myself like starting to do, where my like monkey brain is just like, this is the right thing to move right now.
Yeah,
a lot of those really hurt right now.
Nothing like an injury to remind you that you are meat.
Indeed. Meat and support skeleton within that
meat
keeps
rocks.
the meat. Meat and rocks, indeed. Meat and rocks, and also some irony fluid.
Yeah.
Iron soup.
Yeah.
I mean, it is getting better, so I hope I'm not gonna have to go to the doctor, but it's still not nice and not good.
Yeah, no, that's the thing you want to avoid. Gravity really is just the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
What is the gift that keeps on giving?
Gravity.
Indeed.
Or rather, the gift that just keeps on taking.
Yeah, as Jim Starling has been wanted to use recently.
About Fallout 76. Have you played that? I haven't.
I have not either, and I do not intend to ever give them money.
I like saw it and I was like, eh.
Yeah.
And then every aspect of it I've experienced has lowered my opinion of it further.
It's one of those games that's like, I think the proper term for what Fallout 76 is, and it's a term I use a bit too often, so I'm trying to create some build-up for it this time, because I think it is a term of such gravitas that it deserves this build-up. The proper term for a game or like a concept, like anything that goes as awry as Fallout 76 has, is clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Just like a cluster of fucks that happen in a very short span of time.
God, really, it was just like 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how long has that even been out?
I don't know.
And it basically hasn't stopped. Like, it started before it came out, and it kept going. And, like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's more tomorrow. Like, let me fucking check. I'm gonna Google Fallout 76 right now and see if there's anything new.
Nice, do it.
So, news. Well, this isn't super new, but some people found a secret developer room, and these are normally in Bethesda games, but people managed to get access to one which was inexplicably left in a multiplayer game, and they've been getting items out of it and stuff because it's just there. They just left a debug room in the multiplayer game. The multiplayer game, which still has a cheat console, by the way. As far as I know, which you can just use. And that was 17 hours ago, so we're on the, not quite on the pulse, maybe slightly down into the left of it, but you know. It's just in there. people who go in apparently have their accounts corrupted or something.
Oh, nice.
So that's cool. So there's a special room that shouldn't be there, and when you go in, it breaks your account. So that's quite Bethesda.
Oh, brother.
Not quite as Bethesda as like randomly distributed private information, but there's a whole another year until this game inevitably gets shut down.
I thought it was going to go on forever. Didn't they say it would?
I mean, they implied it would be fun. and they evidently couldn't deliver on that.
No, they did not.
The nukes broke because I guess 2018 was hard-coded into them somehow. My roommate's having a talk. It has been a really weird episode. Overall.
It really has. I really love that part where I wasted 15 minutes talking to my dearest mama in German, which nobody could understand.
Well,
people that could understand were like, oh, I'm kind of seeing a bit too much of Ari's like fucking personal life there.
Well, and the good news is I'm gonna censor it out.
Yes, please do, actually.
Because I spoke during most of that, so I can just edit it to make myself look like a brain genius. And we'll be good.
Yeah, we will be good. All things considered, this was a fun one, even though I guess we didn't really find much to talk about.
Yeah,
and I mean, this time this really was a video game podcast. That's bad. We shouldn't.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be one.
Let me talk about my life. I'm very poor. I've been sick for several days.
Oh.
My VR headset got replaced and that works, so it's good. I changed my icon on numerous accounts to a self-portrait I did.
Which is a very good self-portrait.
Thank you. Please commission me, people who are listening. I desperately need it. The last episode is going up for everyone tomorrow. So that's the thing. I need to see if I can get Apple Podcasts to work, because that just doesn't work. Maybe it only works if you try and access it from an Apple product. I don't know what their problem is. There just isn't Google Play Podcasts in my country. Which is weird, because it's the UK, you know. I know Google isn't based here, but we did invent computers. I think podcasts would... I'm not sure what the logistical problem is there. I listen to podcasts all the time, including ones made here. Beef and Dairy Network's a good one to check out, by the way. So, I don't know. It's like, you know, that show Evangelion?
Yeah.
You know, well, the only way to get that until it comes out on Netflix soon is like a fucking $1,000 Blu-ray collection.
Oh, I did not know that.
Which they made 4 of, and you can't get it legally in any other way.
Oh.
It's not on Crunchyroll. There aren't normal distributions of it. There's like prints. It's not really on television. So it's just like, yeah, you can pirate it. And that's how we make money, says the studio, I guess. It's like, there's a few things like that, and it's like, how do you your IP, it may have value on paper if it's scarce, but it doesn't in real life because no money is going to you from it. Because nobody can buy it from you. You need, people need to buy it from you in order. That's how you get money. People exchange it for your product. I don't know why this is like. I don't know. It's like specific. You know, Disney's a bit shit about distribution sometimes, but they're getting better. But there's this weird thing with Japanese media companies and just like not letting people consume their media.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And I guess it's a cultural thing, but I just don't understand it from like a standpoint of understanding quantity and like supply and demand and all those like really basic capitalism things. Like if people want something, you give it to them and then they give you money. That's how it's meant to work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or has communism rotted my brain?
No, that is how it's supposed to work, I think.
Yeah. And that's why Crunchyroll does well.
You know what this reminds me of, though? It reminds me of a video game thing, namely the collector's edition for what's it called? Enemy Zero by Kenji Ino.
I'm completely unaware, so you can just.
There were 10 of those made. They came in giant wooden crates. There is a shit ton of stuff in there, including like secret development, like beta content, etc. A model of the alien from that game, which apparently has bodily fluids. And in the only picture I saw of it, it looked a lot like a bad sex toy. So that was interesting. T-shirts, outfits worn by showgirls for some reason, etc. And it cost, I think, $2,000. And the reason it cost $2,000 was not because of any of the tat inside, but because Kenji Ino would fly to your home in order to deliver it to you.
Ah. I thought THQ was excessive.
What was
but
excessive?
Then again, if you're only making 5, then... No, THQ used to like send people swords and stuff. And like movie quality props. So, quick editor's note. Ari's about to take like a massive rip on her vape, so I took the liberty of bass boosting it. You're welcome. Just like random, expensive, unsolicited garbage for every single game that came out. Which is why they folded spectacularly into themselves and collapsed like a black hole. And had to sell all of their IP, pretty much. God, that was like the 2000s.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, prior to 2008, the games industry was fucking insane.
It was.
Like, it was just a coke hurricane. Like, I've heard some shit about E3, like, prior to the financial collapse, where it was just, like, millions would go into the parties alone. And, like, back, because obviously it was press only at the time. So, it was just, like, these insane, like, Rockstar style, just absolute superfluous, hyper wasteful nonsense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's fortunate we don't do that anymore. Well, they probably, I don't know what's going on in the AAA space. I don't really pay attention. None of it's especially interesting to me. I wish the Star Wars games were good, but they're not.
Ugh.
I like how they look. DICE does a good job. They know how to do graphics.
Graphics. The graphics.
They can assemble triangles into a good droid and a lighted saber. And we can be thankful for that, but their own... Well, I don't know if DICE is owned by EA, but EA publishes all of their stuff and ruins it. So games that could be like just very nice tech demos are nice tech demos where you have to pay another 50 quid to look at a model of Darth Vader. Also, Piers Morgan exploded a little bit because he got upset that there's vegan food.
Oh, uh-huh.
So,
I don't care.
I mean, it's a shame he didn't explode more.
It's a shame he didn't literally explode.
There's a picture of him in bed, in like a hospital bed, looking sad, which is quite funny. I'm not like you know, I don't think veganism is actually a productive choice in terms of reducing the overall amount of suffering in the world, just because of how food is produced in general, and how there's no ethical consumption under capitalism at all, no matter how much it says it on the packaging, and all like things that are like superfoods generally still don't have the structural nutrients you need, and they're only really superfoods because they come from countries where the topsoil hasn't been obliterated by poor farming practices yet, and contributing to those industries will contribute to the destruction of their ecology and those superfoods becoming regular foods, such as the shadow of a shadow of food that we have here in the West.
I see what you mean. But my brain is mush, and I think we should wrap this up right now.
Yeah, we've done an amount of it, so...
Yeah, I think we've got a good amount.
It's fine. Plugging. Fuck,
Yeah.
I didn't prepare at all.
I haven't prepared, I think. Unless I logged out like a complete moron. I did not.
Well, actually, I can go.
Go first, yes.
Because, yeah, my Patreon is patreon.com/Kyra, Kyrat. My patrons that I would like to thank are you, my mum, and Jennifer Driscoll. You can find me on awoo.space as Kyra, and you can find me on Twitter as Kyra Does Art, I believe. I just need to check. Yes. And I think that's all.
My Patreon is www.patreon.com/indieadne. That's INDIEADNE. That's the same at I use the same combination of letters. Oh, pardon me. For my Twitter, which is at indieadne. And the patrons I would like to thank are Andy Shao, Cyanic Knight, Faye, Johannes Ambrosch, you, Kai, Luke Rees, Mika Cayley, Mika Peyravinta, Oscar Gott, Ryosuke, who, as I mention every time, is the man who puts a $100 bill in my mail slot every month. Samadi Delphi, Soren, Yukiko, and Zoe Crowling.
Don't look a gift man in the face. Because he might...
looking a gift man in the face. Don't worry.
Because who knows who this person is. But thanks, whoever you are. I hope one day to have my own Ryosuke.
I hope you will too. Yeah, okay.
I think we're done.
Yeah, see you all around.